Bismillah Rahman Rahim. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for all the audience, whoever is joining us today. My name is Ahmad Javaid, and I'm CEO and founder of Cytelite. And as usual, on this program, very program of Technovation of Ahmad Javaid, we brought yet another episode of a very important and relevant topic of critical insurance mechanisms. The topic for the today is urban fire disasters in Pakistan, managing risk, accountability, and the paths to sustainable insurance. So, as usual, I'm joined with a very heavy panel once again, and I'm privileged to have all the senior thought leaders join our panel discussing these topics. And without any further ado, I would like to introduce our extreme panelists. May I request Mr. Zulfiqar Ali Khan Sahab to kindly introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Dr. Ahmad. I am Zulfiqar Ali Khan, CEO of Bharosa Insurance Brokers. I work at intersection of insurance, risk management, and public policy, focusing on making insurance respond to real losses, not just contractual compliance. As well as I am an educationist in the field of insurance and risk management since 2006. This is a brief introduction from my side.
Most welcome, most welcome. I'm quite certain that audience will get benefit from your experience today and will engage with our discussion. So I'll move to the next. Our next guest is Mr. Rahim. May I kindly request you to introduce yourself, please?
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. My name is Abdul Rahim. I'm basically a Lloyd's underwriter, taking care of property, power, and engineering. Most of the time, constructions around the world. So that's my specialty, and I'm working in Dubai and London mix.
Thank you very much once again, and certainly, we will have your experience on the global exposure on this field. So we'll move to the next panelist, Mr. Azfar Arshad, if I may kindly request you to introduce yourself.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Good morning, evening. My name is Asfar Arshad. I'm the Managing Director and CEO of Jubilee General Insurance. I've been associated with the industry for around 30 years now in different areas and operations and underwriting, claims, risk management. And I look forward to interacting with this esteemed panel and sharing my thoughts on how we can increase the insurance penetration in this very vital segments, the SME segment. Thank you.
Certainly looking forward, and most welcome, sir, on the panel. And we'll move to the next guest, which is Mr. Waqas Mehmood Danish. May I request to continue to introduce yourself?
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Waqas Mehmood Danish, and I'm the head of risk management at IGI General Insurance. I come with an engineering background and have been involved with risk assessment activities at various clients over the years. I've had around 15 years of experience in the industry and endeavor to improve risk management standards at the clients and overall in the industry and infrastructure. Looking forward to this essential and very important topic for Pakistan in context of the recent fires that we've had in the urban centers.
Certainly looking forward. It's a pleasure to have you. And our last but not least, our guest, Mr. Raja Asim. May I request to kindly introduce yourself?
Thank you very much, Ahmad Zulfiqar, and honorable guests, panelists. My name is Asim. I'm an avid safety professional. Worked in oil, gas, telecom, and construction industry in Gulf and Pakistan. And I'm also active member of American Society of Safety Professionals and manage many safety discussions and programs. Fire is one of our main concerns. So we'll definitely have a fruitful discussion today, and we'll definitely find out what listeners will take home with this discussion. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Pleasure to have you on the panel with us. So for the audience, as we all do understand that, globally, world has witnessed a lot of natural calamities, and just to broaden an element of a recent assessment which has been done by the World Economic Forum, the risk report for 2026 by World Economic Forum stated the climate change and natural calamities as the highest risk to the global economies. And we should not, undervalue or underestimate the implications for such situations. And there is always an element for organizations, for citizens, for corporate leaders, that we certainly can do some preparation to mitigate or reduce the risks of or negative implications of such unexpected, uncertain disruptions. However, we cannot eliminate the risk. Being that said, a lot of organizations heavily invest in their health and safety matters, firefighting systems, but yet there is an incident which can come and hit them unexpectedly, or maybe because of the human error. So mitigation is one of the top option for the corporate leaders to mitigate or to address that risk. However, transferring that risk is always one of the options we should consider carefully and appropriately, which is in the most benefit of the organization, where the insurance element comes in the picture. So the insurance, I may be just a very young and initial student to the insurance field, having all the industry thought leaders around me on the panel. So without any further ado, I would like to start that, from Zulfiqar Saab, to asking my first question about this insurance thing, that from an insurance and reinsurance standpoint, what are the most common gaps you see in fire policies and sums insured for commercial buildings? And how do you address these gaps to surface painfully at claim stage after incidents like, for example, of recent incident of Gul Plaza?
Thank you, Dr. Ahmad, for the question. The most painful gap we see is underinsurance and misaligned coverages, which these buildings have. Most of the buildings are uninsured mainly, or if they are insured, they are insured underinsured. That means if their value is something like 100 and they are getting insurance for 60 or 80 only to satisfy the lender or some other organizations involved. Buildings are often insured on depreciated or book value instead of replacement cost. Critical covers like business interruptions, debris removal, professional fees, and escalation are either missing or inadequately sublimited. At claim stage, these gaps surface brutally. Clients' expectations ruin on that side, and they actually offended from the insurance provider and all the involved people. What should we do is more of awareness, education, and training focus, which can reduce such gaps at the time of claim. This is my personal opinion, and I have happened to see that thing. Overall, ultimate culprit is awareness and lack of education or interest on the side of insurers.
Absolutely, and in, awareness to the down there, the people who are operationally involved and so forth. So let me take the views from the other panelists on the same. Abdul Rahim Saab, what's your input in this?
Yeah, definitely. As Sir Zulfiqar Ali Khan have already been explained about the main causes, usually under insurance. Yes, I agree with him. Second, yes, education plus regulatory aspects and knowledge to the insured, to how and what should insured and what should not insured. What I would say, some lack of knowledge from the insured side to broker side also. Consultancy is not proper. Most of the time, whenever the brokers are consulting to insured, they usually prefer to the price side, which insured won't always. So they always push to the insurance company. So under insurance is the biggest gap to review the policy documentation with the exact requirement of the insurance. If we are going to insure one mall or sugar mill or textile, so there should be mind stream on the like what is exactly to be insured. So
Absolutely. I mean, I
we'll
mean
go with
the
that.
covering the full, the considering the full coverage and the assets involved and the implications for that, and based on the current arrangements. So, as for Saab, I mean, what's your take on this? Like Zulfiqar Saab mentioned about lack of awareness and competency. There are many factors Abdul Rahim Saab highlighted.
Yeah, I think as Zulfiqar and Rahim already mentioned, I think these are some of the challenges, that we see normally crop up whenever there's a claim. But I think here I would like to just point out that these are challenges which relate to the less than 1% of the population or the businesses that insure. I think for me, the major problem is that more than 99% of the businesses, especially the SME sector, are not insured at all and do not procure. And that is one of the reasons why, unfortunately, in a country like Pakistan, the financial protection and the insurance penetration is so low. Yes, there are multiple factors why these segments remain out of the financial inclusion gap or the financial protection gap. Awareness is one of the issues that have been highlighted. But I think to me, the two or three major points are obviously the religious factor. Obviously, although there is a solution to that available in the form of takaful, but more important than that, I think, is the disclosure. A lot of our industry, especially the SME sector, operates in what we can, I think, very politely call semi-formal economy, right? Or some call it an informal economy. And they are not very keen and fond of documentation. And unfortunately, documentation is the core of insurance. Whenever you procure an insurance policy, especially at the time of claim, insurance companies or the surveyors want to know the source of the asset, the nature of the asset, and documentation. And this sector that we are talking to, the SME sector, they're not very fond of documentation. We all know, and we all know the reasons. And the second major important, I think, challenge that we need to consider is, I mean, this sector is not very financially matured, and insurance as a product, that's a complex product. There are a lot of terms and conditions that are there. So I think two of the other than the challenges that have been highlighted earlier, I think as from the industry perspective, I think we need to focus on the bigger picture. How to get this more than 99% of our businesses and individuals, how to address these challenges from the insurance sector, so that at least we offer them a product and ensure that when such a calamity like what we recently experienced in Karachi, the shopping center incident, which is not very unique. I mean, we keep hearing this news off and on, and it happens all over the country. It happens in Lahore, it happens in Islamabad, Faisalabad, Multan, you name it. How the industry can come up with a solution, how to address these problems challenges that we have identified, and make sure that these people also have an option to cover their assets.
Absolutely, you highlighted several important points here, and where I'll come back to you on this thing that maybe, or one of the prime reason people may feel like it's because this area is heavily under-regulated, and due to that, there's a lot of challenges. But allow me to just collect the views of others. Waqas Saab, your views, please.
Thank you, Ahmad Saab. The esteemed panelists have already shed light upon critical challenges that exist in the industry. I'll just like to make a quick addition. I think a lot of times insurance is seen as fulfilling paperwork, compliances, and requirements set out by the lenders, for example. And the true intent of getting insured, seeking financial security, at times is missed out. So we must realize insurance is basically the lifeline and the protection for your balance sheet. So until and unless the insured itself is keen to get a comprehensive coverage for the whole facility, disclose the whole facility to the insurer, seek coverages which are in line with the whole facility that they are managing. It becomes pointless to have this as a paperwork activity. So that ownership, that sense of ownership, which would come, as Zulfiqar Saab highlighted, awareness, which is an equal responsibility of the industry and the clients themselves, is going to bring a fresh flavor and make sure that this lifeline, in essence, fulfills its purpose of providing financial security and business continuity to businesses.
So, in other words, when we are the more focused towards assessing the coverage initially, like when we are insuring any of the customers, and that depends on the competency and the capabilities as well of the companies itself. But Rajasab, there is now interesting element of the perspective of the client as well. How the clients are usually, because we are being the insurance companies, we always need to look at from our benefit, or how we need to cover our risk. But there is a perspective of, or a customer perspective as well. I would like you to, if I may kindly request you to shed some light on that as well.
Okay, sir. Let me, for the listeners, let me recollect what I heard so far. And we have consensus on one thing, that there is the lack of awareness regarding in every sector towards the employer and the employees and the investor and the customer and the clients. We have a general lack of awareness. Reason being, 45 years back in 1981, we have got a health and safety regulations or employment regulations framework given by the ILO to us. And we have so far made OSH Act, Occupational Safety and Health Act, in 2016 in Sindh. After devolution, every province is responsible to make their own laws. So in Sindh, it is 2016. In federal, it's 2018. In Punjab, it's 2019. Still, three provinces, AJK, GB, and KPK, and Balochistan, are not regulated with occupational safety and health, which brings the liability. So this is the legal scenario of our Pakistan. That's why the awareness is not available at any forum, because the biggest source of awareness is the enforcement. We do not have the legal cover available, so people do not consider the welfare of other people. Employer is not concerned with the welfare of employees. He's not concerned with welfare of, he just want to get things done with as much little litigation available, not fulfilling his basic requirements. So this is the lack of awareness which I so far have addressed. Now, from the client's point of view, the question you just put up to me, everyone in this country, either we are local clients or if you go to the international companies, they're all enjoying this legal holiday and they're minting money, skimming or squeezing every corner from which they can get things done. And this is the area. If corporates are start working, SMEs start fulfilling their obligations toward their employees, so they have to get this insurance as it's a part and parcel of that package. So if we see that this cover is not available, it is the reason because there is no legal enforcement available. We are 45 years behind the rest of the world. They have started making laws in 1981. And so far, our three provinces has made the law, but still the department is, Ministry of Labor is the mandatory, is the custodian of that law. But they are not educated on this matter, how to regulate that. The PC1 for OSHA has been well documented, but still some reasonable government is going to come and they're going to see that these things should be enforced. And so we can get a basic cover to every worker, every person who goes to do the job, either in Gul Plaza or any facilities like these. They are insured or they're secured. Unless employer is not fulfilling his responsibility, things would not move forward. Do I need to clear who is the employer? Let me take 2 minutes of yours and just to give you an idea.
Sure.
Who is an employer? So far, people confuse this law with the ownership law. In ownership law, there are 4 kinds of ownerships: sole proprietor, partnership, private limited company, and public limited company. These are the ownerships. Whereas in the employment law, whenever we employ you guys, anyone who take the job, we are going to put you in a hierarchy. Let's take a simple hierarchy of 5 layers. The top is the CEO or MD, then directors, then managers, then supervisors, then workers. We are going to place you anywhere there. So if you are available in this hierarchy, no matter where the place is, the people who are working under you are your employees and you are their employer. And the person who is sitting above you is your employer and you're his employee. So
Right.
if we see that who's the employer, it's not somebody who is not identified. It is we have to see it in the mirror that we are the employers and we have to fulfill our duties. It is not the owner. Ownership laws are different. They are meant for different set of responsibilities, whereas employment laws are made for different set of responsibilities. And when we employ somebody, imagine if you hire a boy, let's say you're a very learned person, we hire you that come and join our company on this package. You come to our company and we put you in a hazardous atmosphere, and you got fatality. ILO figure says that 350,000 people died every year on site. They leave the house to do the job and they do not come back. So 350 working, let's take 1 year, round it off to 1 year, that every day 1,000 people all over the world leave their house to do the job and do not come back. Reason being, this is the figures of ILO. Okay, 160 million people get sick and will not able to do jobs or not able to get employed anywhere else. Their economic cycle is finished every year. 160 million. 270 million people get injured every year. Pakistan's population is unaccounted population. Maybe it is equal to 270 million, but 220 million is the figure. So a country like Pakistan, I mean, a population of this much, they are reduced out of the global economic cycle. 4% of global GDP is lost. So what we are saying, we are just fishing on the surface, but the deep-rooted issue is that we do not have the legal cover. Our employees and employers do not have the legal cover available to handle this matter.
Right. So
What do you
which,
say?
yeah,
hope
which thank you very much for very comprehensive, the viewpoint, and where basically you have emphasized on the fact of highly under-regulated domain. Well, in addition to that, of course, the understanding how it's been interpreted within the organization as well, that who's and how the responsibility has to establish and enforced. So whether we all witness globally in several countries that there are regulations that have been made by regulators, but enforcement becomes challenging when it comes to ground level reality. So but moving pushing the discussion forward, because there's a important aspect of what we are discussing is the underwriting and risk section as well. So if I ask my next question to Azfar Arshad sir, is that when underwriting urban commercial risks today, what specific fire risk red flags would make a risk declinable or restrictively insurable or subject to punitive pricing?
I hope I understand your question correctly. So in terms of underwriting hazards, we all know, most of the risks in Pakistan, especially in the SME landscape, they do not operate in the ideal condition. Although there are rules and regulations which, mandate fire safety, which mandates electrical safety, which mandate the ingress and outcome of those, in terms of safety stairs and exits as well. Unfortunately, most of these organizations or most of these entities set up do not adhere to these rules and regulations, right? So, from an insurance perspective, yes, as underwriters, we look at the occupation. Normally, if especially when talking of shops and commercial supplements, there are various types and categories of shops within a given area with a given mall. So all sorts of the foam factory, the foam shops, the wooden shops having other combustible material. So in that way, obviously, we are talking of a much higher risk, and your underwriting terms have to be in line to identify those risks. More importantly, I think is an important role that insurance industry plays and can play, and we do play in the corporate side, is to make sure once we have underwritten a risk, to make sure there's some risk inspection that happens in the premises, and the recommendations are discussed with the clients, and the risk improvement recommendations works are carried out, and the risk is improved. And I can share this with the panel, especially in when you talk of the SME sector. I mean, if you look at the hazard, the things that increase the hazards, not a lot of work needs to be done to address those risks. It's about fixing the electricity connections, the tube lights and stuff. It's just about fixing that, making sure that the housekeeping is taken care of. In our terminology, we have what we call the fire triangle. Where we have a source of ignition, we have combustible material, and stuff. So all you need to do is to make sure that the fire triangle is broken. So where there's a source of ignition, we don't have combustible material near there. And where they have combustible materials, we don't have the source of ignition has been addressed. And plus, add to that, if we can have some basic, fire safety, hydrants, not hydrants. Although hydrants, internal hydrants is not a very major expenditure that can be arranged, especially when you talk of these complexes, and some of the major complexes do have that. But just major basic, fire extinguishers or trolleys that can be kept there, that can address a fire at inception. So from an underwriting perspective, I think what as an underwriter I would do, yes, we will never find an ideal case for starters, but I think what we need to be prepared to do is to work with our clients and make sure some of the basics are improved, and this becomes acceptable in the medium term and the long run. So that is basically what our philosophy is.
Thank you very much for such a comprehensive, the red flags. You mentioned any more red flags you would like to highlight, Waqas?
So I think I'll continue with this highlighting sense of risk ownership. So just comparing this sense of risk ownership in one of the corporates versus a plaza where the recent incident happened in Karachi. So while we have some of insured malls and multi-purpose plazas where we will still have multi-purpose facilities ranging from textiles, garments to shoe outlets to other consumer products, the risk profile is very varied in some of those malls as well. But what differs is a sense of ownership. If there is a structure available, there is a team available who's taking care of the fire safety, emergency exits, the emergency response protocols. Each of the tenant on the site is responsible for their own site, their own shop, have some basic preparedness in place. The sense of risk ownership is different. That makes the risk profile completely different and mostly acceptable to the insurance companies as well. Relevant to the specific question you highlighted, what is the red flag and what makes risks declinable? That is the lack of ownership within an entity. At Gul Plaza, we all see through the investigations as well. Gul Plaza is just one example. There are several such facilities across the country where there is absolute no ownership of the risk management in the facility. There's no centralized team. No one as a tenant is concerned about the safety of the facility that earns them money and that earns them livelihood. So this risk ownership is absolutely essential. And if that is missing at a facility, be it a corporate, be it an SME, that would definitely be a decline list for the underwriters.
Absolutely, you spotted on the bullseye. I mean, the risk ownership is I think the heart and soul of all the efforts here. But Rajan Sahab, I mean, as Waqas mentioned, that when it's the risk ownership concept differs based on the malls and based on the other. So does it vary based on the industry? What's your views on that?
So, in any economy, in any economy, if you have a legal cover, that gives you an even surface to everyone. Either whatever the trade is, whatever the economy, whatever the industry is, they're treated equally. Let me cover the bridge here now. We do not have the laws, very fine. We do not have refined laws. We do not have enforcement. That is one area. But on the other side, parallel, we have to live with the world. So world has given us another standard, another mechanism to manage those things. And these are called ISO standards, or there are multiple international standards. Those are applicable on us. If we do not have the legal cover, we have to follow them. And each standard costs something. And that cost goes out of the profit. So we have to put whatever we earn, we have to invest a lot of amount to cover those things if we have to stand tall high with the international world. So these things, that's why our businessman is losing money because of absence of law. So, but let's say standards are there and they're giving us some hope that we are going to work out things. Whereas the very interesting point, risk ownership has been said. And no doubt the risk ownership is something which is training and education can definitely do miracles. People should be trained in that and it should be there. But let me, Mr. Azfar has highlighted the fire triangle area. That is my basically core subject. So let me give a little highlight for the listeners that what is this fire triangle? For fire, there are three things. Fire is the chemical reaction, and that reaction is called combustion reaction. And to complete the combustion, we need three things: heat, oxygen, and the fuel. Now, the principle is that everything in this world is fuel over time. So we have got abundance of fuel in this world. On this earth, everything is fuel over time. Then oxygen, we need 21% oxygen, which is sufficient to get things burning. So both things are in abundance. So what is left? Heat. Heat has a property which is called minimum ignition energy, MIE. Luckily, every material has a different MIE. When this energy is attained, the fire will ignite. The chemical reaction will complete and the fire will happen. So you might have heard about the fire points and the boiling points, and we have studied one aspect of that. But after the fire, maybe paper has a very low fire point, but the heat value and the flame size is something which is very different. It emits almost 800 degrees centigrade temperature, paper. And when we say that combustible fuel, everything is fuel in this world, everything is fuel over time. So we are concerned with four types of fuels: combustible, flammable, highly flammable, and extremely flammable, because these are the type of fuels which are most dangerous, which are most noxious, which can attain fire rapidly on the room temperatures. So you might have heard that paper, we are moving towards paperless environment. Why? Because paper is combustible. So wherever you find paper now it is just paper. The next item is textile. And then if you add up these things, plastic, rubber, and foam, add the wood also. So you'll find that Gul Plaza has all these kind of materials available with them, which can ignite easily. So when we are doing the risk assessment of these clients or any of these, so we have to be very stringent on these things. We should not discount just to attain the contract of the insurance. We should have to regulate it. So insurance companies, by making their regulations stringent, they can also do a very good to the society.
Absolutely. I mean, I fully endorse the element, but by not even undervaluing the firefighting systems, the contingency arrangements they already have, of course, with all those things, the overall posture we need to assess. When moving further, I mean, I'll come back to you, Rajasab, on one more element, what we just highlighted, the triangle part. But Zulfiqar Sab, I mean, what more red flags you would like to add in the discussion?
Sorry, I was mute. Thank you. The panelists have explained everything very well and in detail. But one thing which I have in my mind left after their discussion is the moral character or moral hazard in the society and in such places where such kind of commercial activities involved. Azfar Saab already highlighted one thing, that there is another kind of economy moving in these areas, which is non-documented, or in very open word, if we can say, non-tax paying type of system, which cannot be proved at the time of law. So there is also a hazard related to their attitude, which Waqas has highlighted in the shape of non-ownership of the management of such plazas and places, and also the tenants and the owners. So everybody shifting that burden on other guys. This is a red flag, mainly because if the moral character is better, then we can move forward for the physical improvements or the physical risk mitigation guidelines to implement. If a client or a owner of a property is himself or herself is not very much of that point, or of the moral character, that they own that risk and willing to apply some kind of risk mitigation theories and perspective or aspects, then in that case it is very difficult to ensure or to reduce the risk at the insurer's risk appetite, in my viewpoint, I guess.
And fully agreed, given that when there's a lot of red flags which we have highlighted, all of us together. But moving further, when just to push our discussion forward, my next question to Abdul Rahim Saab is: in large urban fire losses, where do claims most commonly break down? Documentation, warranties, causation, underinsurance, or policy interpretation? And what lessons do these cases offer insurance?
Thank you so much, Ahmad Javaid Saab. It's a very, very important question, actually. And as the respectable panels have already been explained, so many factors. I believe it's a discussion about, even we can sit, so 3-4 hours we can debate about these all topics in insurance and all. But yes, I will highlight few things which is very important while settling of such kind of urban claims. Are these issues can come in front of insured, or in front of insurer even, and loss adjuster, because so many parties are involved in this. So first thing which definitely I will hide, because there are 4-5 or multiple factors. One is documentation, second is causation, third is warranty, fourth is underinsurance, and policy interpretations. So we can start with documentations, like as it's explained earlier, like why documents are being important. Because once the insurance policy or insured comes to insurance company, so they said, I have this building, I have this factory, and this kind of documents, I like it, the one which insurance company required, they provided equally or not. So once the claim came to the picture, so most of the time loss adjuster had asked about where is the risk management, where is the risk management documents, where is the commissioning of the firefighting equipments, where were the documents which, like, they were that provided, there was no smoking areas, restricted limits were there. So sometime, like, these fire always revealed serious kind of record keeping issues. So that can conflict in front of loss adjuster to ownership document, missing approval from the authorities, that can be an issue, incomplete safety documents, and most of the time insured were failed to provide the audited registered drawings. So many things, like it depend on particular, like to whom they are going to investigate. So these are the issues which always come across to the insurance company and to loss adjusters always. So like how the insured can be beneficial or how insured can be benefited or learned from those things. So they should maintain a proper record, a proper inspection report, file documentations in a way like to be a built-in file, or they should hire a third party basically to maintain those documents. If they had if they had future losses or future insurance, so they can be used those documents in a ready-made way. So what I would suggest or I would recommend to be like, there are so many third parties in the market who usually prepared all this documentation for the insured, mega insured, who had like mall, who had the towers and factories and all. So this is the one thing. Second thing, we can say causation. Causation is a big chapter, which is we can debate a lot on it, because it's a basic primary dispute for insured, and most of the time with insurance company, with reinsurance companies. So, and there are so many stakeholders involved usually to define this dispute. Like we all know, like what is the causation? It's like origin of fire, like how the fire had happened. So the most of the stakeholder, like we can say facility management companies, that they can be container of this, and tenants can be there, contractors can be there. So most of the parties, like every time they will just blame to each other. Like most of the time, tenants would say, no, this fire doesn't came from our side. It had happened to outside area or corridor. Most of the time, this utility companies, they will say, no, the fire was not from the transformer. Fire was from other side, or it was purely a tenant fault. So this, and basically causation can be anything. It's a common cause. It can be a ignition source. It can be electrical fault. It can be a operating design system, human negligence. It can be a gas, poor maintenance. So most of the time, once we are reviewing some cases from Australia and New Zealand and those areas, wildfire is a major issue, like the causations. They have such other issues. So how to define the cause? So these are the issues which always come to the loss register to investigate. So how insured can come up with those issues? Same thing. They should basically maintain the independent fire experts usually. So if they have that investigation reports immediately to maintain the claim position, so that can be always good for them. Then first of all, insured should secure the sites to preserve the evidence. Basically, that is very important factor to them, which is always, once the insured have a proper forensic report, so it can be always less ambiguity to protect the coverage and limits and all. So these were the things. Even I'll say here dispute in 9/11 also, where the causation dispute had happened. Like one was the peril clarifications. Like the peril was not classified, either it was a terrorism or it was a fire. So, and after that, some studies shows that that fire protection impairment was also came in the picture. So after that, the case had been resolved. So these were the issues. Third thing, warranty. As we all know, how warranties are important in insurance companies. Warranty conditions, risk management obligation is a very important factor. So most of the time, warranties, it's an arm for underwriter who always put to do some obligations or corrections from the client side. Underwriter always want this, but there is a fact, warranties always limit the coverages. Most of the time, warranties can breach unknowingly also, where insured was not unaware about that. So, and how it can be challenged with the while such settling of claims. So due to non-operational sprinkler alarms be a reason. Most of the time fire pumps wouldn't work, and non-availability of security guard, non-availability of like non-restricted smoking areas, panels and all. So, and one thing which I always mention during my discussion, even generally also, insured is always lacking, to declare the material damage, changes in the material damage. It can be a occupancy, it can be a storage limitation, and it can be a unnotified construction work. So these are the tools which underwriter have, and after that, it's in his power, like they can decline or they can restrict the claim. So warranties always comes with less recoveries. It can be once these type of policies will go to the reinsurer, they will always use a tool and they can decline the claim. So these are the major dispute issues which always insured face. So, and there is a saying in Lloyd terminologies, like warranties are not technicalities. Basically, it's basically a price tool where the price they always put in while calculating with the prices. I think so. Mr. Azfar Arshad will agree with me how to be, to more comfortable or more cheap to sell to cheap policies and all. So these are the issues.
Yeah, I mean, just thank you so much for the very comprehensive response. So let's hear out from Azfar Saab. Azfar Saab, man, your views on that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I think warranties and deductibles and conditions, are there to. I mean, I look at it from two perspectives. Yes, they're a tool where you can use them to adjust the pricing. Uh, I rather, as a policy, we rather use that for the big industrial and commercial risks who are aware and who understand the implications of those warranties, conditions, and deductibles. Right. So there, where the client has a very clear understanding of what they're procuring and that what they're purchasing. I think that I think an industry and a company can use that tool, because what we must not forget, especially in this part of the world, one of the major challenges that we face as an industry is trust. People in general, do not trust insurance contracts. They have this feeling, and not talking only of retail clients, I'm not talking only of SME clients, I'm talking of pure industrial and commercial entities as well. There's also that, thought that perhaps the insurance contract will not pay them the full loss. So, and in that case, I think part of the responsibility lies on us as the keepers of insurance, where, because for us, warranties and conditions and deductibles and franchise, I mean, we're used to them. We use them, we hear them day in and then out. We know the implications. We know what they mean. Cannot be said for customers, for clients, even for good industrial and commercial and corporate clients as well. So I think there's a lot of responsibility on us as practitioners, that if we are utilizing those terms and conditions which will in any way reduce the loss or address the loss or address the risk, we need to ensure that the implication of those terms and conditions are very clearly enumerated and explained to the customers, that this is what, yes, inserting a deductible will reduce the pricing, will reduce the premium, because obviously they will be bearing part of the risk. But then the implication of that they will have to bear the loss, I think that has to be made very clearly. Similarly, in terms of warranties, I will divide that into two areas. There would be certain warranties which will be very basic to the organization, to the business, without which an insurance contract may not be viable. And there will be a lot of such examples that we use. For example, I'll tell you, in terms of distance warranty, that's a very basic warranty when it comes to commercial industrial risk, where insurance industry mandates that storage of especially raw material, hazardous and non-hazardous, has to be traditional. Similarly, in certain cases, there may be warranties that you need to carry out certain operations separately, or you should not be insuring or keeping more than a specific stock within a process area. So these terms and these warranties are those which goes to the heart of the contract and the heart of risk management and the heart of good housekeeping. So yes, but that also I think needs to be explained to the customers, right? Another warranty example that I give you is again pertaining to storage, where not more than a certain amount of stock can be kept in a given location, whether it's textile mill in godowns or open. Again, those warranties are very there; they are rightly there. But I think from insurance practitioners' perspective, I think the most critical and important thing is we need to share those warranties openly with the client and customer and explain to them the implications. That is one part of the equation. The second part of the equation is, just a breach of, there are various claims that come up, and we all, I'm sure, have experienced that, where the breach of warranty is established, but then the cause of loss is independent of that breach of warranty, right? So I think there again, how that warranty is applied in case of a claim, that needs to be, we need to be judicious in that, whether if that warranty led to the claim, can be reduced, or whether that a breach of a certain warranty, exaggerated the claim. Again, there's a case of applying that and making sure that the commensurate claim is also paid. But yes, these are. I would rather not. I understand from what Abdul Rahim is saying. These are also tools available to adjust the pricing as well, especially in case of deductibles. But I think from the practitioner's perspective, I think transparency is very, very, very critical in all these conditions, where all these are very transparently explained to the client, and the implications at the time of claim explained to the client, and what are the benefits that they're getting in terms of premium discounts, and what they will have to bear in case of a loss because of these warranties. I think as long as those are very clearly explained, I think that's it. But for a vast majority of our client base and customers, I think there's a very clear and distinct lack of understanding of these application of these terms, and this is where we need to be very careful and make sure our reputation as a very professional industry is upheld in all cases.
Absolutely. I mean, clarity is actually is the key to for the mutual success, though. But considering the time factor, I mean, I really need to push my. I do have like few questions left to ask all the other guests as well. So my next question is to Waqas, from a fire engineering viewpoint, which three controls, design, detection, and suppression, compartmentation, evacuation, most frequently fail in Pakistani commercial buildings, and why?
Thank you very much. That's a very critical question. I think the most popular perspective is the absence of active firefighting system, absence of fire hydrant systems, fire pumps, fire extinguishers. However, from a risk management and risk engineering point of view, I rate the design factor way above the active firefighting systems. That, for me, is the most critical fail point for an infrastructure and an infrastructural failure from fire safety point of view. Taking an example of multi-storied plaza that caught fire in Karachi a few days ago, imagine the kind of design constraints which do not allow exit pathways to people who were there, narrow walkways, those walkways occupied by stocks which have been kept at a capacity way above the design capacity. And more importantly, what was alarming for me was the possibility of fire traveling from one floor to the another and catching the whole building within a few minutes. So the factor that was missing was a design consideration of creating a compartment where, say, a fire at one level does not travel to the other. So consciously or unconsciously, there were, for example, air conditioning ducts, electrical cable trays that moved from one floor to the another and easily allowed fire to travel from one side to another. So had there been design considerations where one floor was completely sealed, and the probability of fire traveling to the next floor was minimized, where cable trays or cable penetrations were sealed off and would not allow air or smoke to move from one side to another, the possibility of fire traveling would be much lower. So for me, design consideration is the very key factor. This consideration has to be kept into civil infrastructure, the placement of your critical equipment and machinery, your boilers, your fuel tanks should be in well ventilated open areas, and the exposure to infrastructure, to people, to personnel should be minimal. So for me, design consideration is the first factor and the most commonly breached factor, because the design element is not given the due respect and the due importance. Following that, of course, is the factor of operational negligence. So in commercial plazas like these, if you keep stocks beyond capacity and you do not understand the importance of maintaining a safe distance from electrical cables, an event happening, a short circuit leading to fire initiation and spreading across the plaza is just a matter of time. So operational considerations need to be taken into account. And finally, of course, the presence of firefighting and suppression systems, early fire detection through smoke detectors, immediate firefighting through water-based hydrant systems, through fire extinguishers, and presence of external support through fire brigades, public fire entities, timely response is all critical. But again, I would rate in the order of design considerations, operational safety, and finally, the active firefighting systems.
Right. Right. I mean, my next question is to Raja Sahab, that if how do ESG and IFC, PS and ISO frameworks treat fire and life safety risk? And where do Pakistani buildings typically fail when assessed against international EHS and ESG benchmarks?
Interestingly, I've told you that's a very decent question, sir. We have framed out so far that I've given you primarily I've given you this scenario of the Pakistan's law structure. We have missing out a very big chunk of law that is going to regulate things here, and we are dependent on the standards. One of the standards is the ISO, the other one standard is the IFC. These are the standards. Whenever the international restaurant is going to come into this country, they are going to regulate before investing in any project. They have IFC standards available, which are maintaining these things. And that gives a very easy approach for my dear colleagues here for the tourists. They are very well equipped for ensuring those companies, those clients who are having World Bank project or who are having Asian development projects, who are fulfilling the IFC standards. So these standards are the only very thin line available for us to maintain this economy. Otherwise, if you see the buildings that are making the Karachi fire is not the only event now. All the buildings, let me put a shed on another matter, that all the buildings which are manufactured before 2000, there's a very big risk of having asbestos in that. So that is another area which is ignored throughout, from the legal section, from the insurance point of view, from the technical point of view. These things are not considered here. Throughout the world you go, you'll find out that these things are covered. All the buildings are properly managed for these kind of risks. So fire is not the only thing that is coming up. We might see this kind of, the incidents are increasing. It might increase because the buildings are old, their life is over, and again the things come that we have to make the institutions like insurance companies have a very vital role to strengthen their stringent standards, and they can bring a good things, a betterment for the insured clients. Otherwise, if we see that everyone tries to skim from the legal side, employer is not doing their responsibility. People who invested in Gul Plaza, let me give you an idea here. The ILO Convention of Occupational Health and Safety comes in 1981. Beside employer responsibility, the next section is how to work in shared workplaces. What is the discipline in shared workplaces? I have to share my assessment with you. You have to share your assessment with me. We have to do cross examinations. We have to do combined inspections, combined drills. Everyone has to be in one workplace, have to be trained. But you see that one person is having this stock inside the shop, doesn't know, and did
Yeah.
not give any information about that
Rahul sir,
stock.
kindly allow me to interrupt you here, please. Apologies for that, but since my next question is focusing the very same thing, and that is like open to all the panel, and let's start from you. Is where should the overall accountability realistically sit after such fires? Owners, tenants, facility managers, regulators, insurers, or is the real issue the absence of enforceable shared responsibility?
So, in my point of view, it is the owners, the person who has the investment to select a shop for his business. He has to invest. Like in recent rains, we have seen that people have invested in a society which was ruined by river flow. While you're investing in some place, you have to see where you're putting your money in. So the very first responsibility comes to the person who is getting into legal or getting into industrial or commercial project. Let me give another idea here. In a welfare state, there are three organs. One is the government, who takes the tax from the people who do the job, industrial or commercial activity. They pay the taxes to the government. And the third entity is the people who do not do anything. Government pays welfare to them. So these are the three state players of this welfare state. If you decided to do any commercial or industrial activity, you are responsible for, by the law, you are responsible for any critical situation happens in there. That is why if you make a building, you have to have the fire arrangement. You want to do some exercise, you're working with chemicals, you have to arrange for those things. So whatever things you're having, it is your responsibility, the one's responsibility who is investing, who is doing any commercial or industrial activity, that from his activity, anything comes, he had to have the arrangement for those things. So this is the basic idea here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Zulfiqar Sab, in your opinion, who should be held accountable?
The real issue is not choosing one party to blame. I guess it's the absence of enforceable shared responsibility, like owners, tenants, facility managers, regulators, and insurers. They all have their own role to contribute. Each control a different part of the risk chain, like insurer not only have to insure the property, but they also have to guide them for risk management tools and improvement in the risk. Because when a businessman is doing business, I happen to see during my visits and surveys which I used to conduct while working in insurance company, I have learned that they are much more focused on their own business, own growth, own production and selling. They're not seeing things in that way they should have. So our way of seeing things, being risk-related professionals, is somewhat different. So we have to educate them in addition to their own responsibility. I agree with Asim Saab that prime responsibility is the owner and the entrepreneur who is putting that capital in the business. But they also need some expert opinion from our side. This is my opinion.
Yeah, but ultimately, still, someone has to wear the hat of holding the full high-level accountability, because someone is custodian and someone is taking care of the rest of the things. Let's hear out the other opinions. Rahim Saab, who should be held accountable?
From my perspective, I believe we all should be responsible. All the stakeholders should be responsible in such kind of scenarios and all. Because as
Sorry to interrupt you, that realistically, that is, do you think it's achievable?
yeah, I'm coming on that side, because particularly as Raja Sab said, like individual who is deciding to take the business or doing the business, he should be responsible. But a country like Pakistan, in our country, it's not possible for everyone, because if a guy who is keeping the shop in the same mall, which is bit cheap for him and to run the business and all, so ultimately he have to live with other all. So might be he can get he can think he get an insurance particularly for their own shop and all. And as Zulfiqar Saab said, yeah, insurer, brokers, being an insurance industry, we should proper educate to them like how they can, risk can be mitigates only, like it can be a mitigation. It's not, we cannot say we can be out from the risk particularly. And second thing which I would say, yes, governance, that is very, very important, like where an individual cannot play the role. It
Just
should be
allow me to
from
come back on the governance part because
authorities. Yeah.
considering
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time element, I mean, I need to take final takeaways from all of you. Azfar Saab, would you agree on the ownership? The owner should held accountable.
I think, to me, the ultimate responsibility has to be with the government. There's no other question about that. Yes, there are a lot of people who are involved who should be careful about doing it, but I think this is a matter of where society is impacted, where lives are lost, where goods are damaged or destroyed, and the entire economy suffers. So the ownership and the ultimate responsibility has to be with the government. And we see this in all spheres of life. I mean, you drive with a license because there's a regulation and the government enforce it. Now in Karachi we see now people stopping at traffic lights because there's accountability that is involved. If you don't speak, there's a traffic
Absolutely.
that comes of it. So I think whilst I agree with what my co-panelists are saying, that everyone needs to participate in that, but the ultimate responsibility and enforcement needs to come from the government.
It's a shared responsibility, but should wear the hat of overall accountability. But considering the time factor, Waqas Saab, your view on this, as well as a final takeaway message to our audience.
And so in terms of wearing the hat, I think every specific stakeholder has a specific responsibility. As an owner, you are responsible for adequate design of your infrastructure, ensuring that you invest in the right firefighting systems. As a tenant, you are responsible for at least keeping your own shop safe, ensuring your stocks are not touching electrical cables. As a facility manager, you have to take care of the firefighting systems that are there, that should be there. As a regulator, you should be conducting regular audits and inspections to ensure that the facility is safe, and you should only be licensing the infrastructure when you're sure that the necessary systems are there. So everyone has a very specific responsibility for which everyone can be very specifically held accountable. But ultimately, I think it's about sharing all those responsibilities and building that mutual element of trust and working together, because as we all speak, risk management is safety is a shared responsibility because we are all part of it. So I believe with those specifics, we can always share the sense of responsibility and build into a safer future, inshallah.
Well taken. And your final takeaway message to the audience, sir.
I repeat the same thing. Each one of us has a shared responsibility. Each one of us can contribute a small chunk into the huge pie of safety and risk management. So be it stopping on the traffic signals at the right time, be it watching left and right while you cross the road, or safely using a matchstick in the kitchen, everything is responsibilities, risk management, and safety. So let's contribute individually to create a better community and a safer community, inshallah.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh Saab. Your final takeaway message to the audience, please, whatever we have discussed in the past 1 hour.
Sir, I'm really grateful for everyone and the panelists that they've got a very decent view on that. First of all, let me clear one final thing, that we are not blaming anyone. We are not going to find out who's to blame. We are going to find out who the responsibility resides first. So the primary responsibility is the person who take initiative. So my stake is that the person who is planning to do a commercial or industrial venture is the person who has the onus of finding the safety for his employees and his investment first. So if he is not able to do that, and he is just looking for the profits, he's just looking after the money. So these are the things that are going to misregulate the whole thing. So I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that the prime responsibility lies on the person who takes the initiative. And yes, the government part is very important. The legislation is also there. These are all supporting actors. Let's say traffic law is available, but it's your choice that you choose to cross the red light. So responsibility lies on the action of the person who takes the action. So this is my whole idea, sir. And I pray for everyone's safety. The people who have aggrieved in this horrific accident, and we are all sad for their souls and pray for their betterment. Thank you.
Thank you, Amin. Thank you very much. And Zulfiqar sir, your final takeaway message, please.
Yes, I agree with everyone on the point that mainly government, with the support of the society and other stakeholders in line, keeping them in line, can bring the change and can do things better by making and implementing various rules and laws, because we have many rules and laws available in Pakistan, but the compliance and implementation part is weaker on the side. And the whole debate actually concluded on the point that we should collaborate to improve safety and should spread our message through such type of panel discussions, webinars, educational lectures, and so on. So we can actually put that voice to the ears of some government or regulator people as well, so they can go forward or move forward to the implementation side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Rahim sir, your final takeaway message.
Yes, as everyone has discussed the main things and main topics about this fire and all. So yes, what I would say, safety, risk management is the key. We should all responsible for the things, and we should follow the law. Governance is like, from the government side, authority should step. This kind of incident should not happen again, and we should be all, to on the teaching side to be, wherever we can help in wherever scenarios we are sitting. So we should help in a way to, to support the society. That's it.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. Thank you very much. Azfar sir, your final takeaway message, please.
Yeah, thank you, Ahmad, and thank you for arranging this. I think my final thought words would be, I think we all need to understand and realize that we are part of an industry which plays a very important role in the financial and economic protection of this economy as well as individuals. So, and we have all identified the challenges that there are. I think we must not wait for the perfect situation or the perfect scenario to happen. We must, work out ways and continue to work out ways on how we can contribute in addressing the challenges that we have highlighted here, and see how we can offer insurance in whatever way or form to people who currently are not able to, or are not aware to, or do not have the means of insuring their assets and their businesses. So I think the industry needs to come up with different products, different distribution mechanism, and see how we can, move the needle. Because for too long, this industry has been stuck at a penetration of less than 0.3%. And I think the industry cannot afford to wait any longer for another more such incidents to happen. And we need to somehow unlock this code, come up with products and solutions that we can offer to the society in general.
Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen. So I would like to thank all of you for joining the session today and sharing your expertise and opinions. Considering this horrific incident, I mean, definitely we all together pray for the lives of their departed souls, and we contribute our parts into the community to help people avoiding or protecting themselves from such incidents. Given that we have discussed a lot, from starting from the lack of awareness and competency among the stakeholders and the arrangements, a lot of the how to manage the claims and sections underwriting, and on top of it, the how to and way to establish the responsibilities and accountabilities. With this thing, thank you very much, whoever is joined us today in this session. And as usual, Ahmad Javaid with Technovation with Ahmad Javaid will be bringing several relevant topics focusing on the current issues and more specifically in the future hot topics as well. With this thing, thank you so much and have a great day ahead. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. Thank you much, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for everyone. Thank you.